2016 is going to be a momentous year, not least of which because of a prophecy conference currently in the works that features 24 of the top prophecy teachers in the world today. Welcome to Skywatch TV. This is a special broadcast as we are bringing in via Skype and the miracles of modern technology, our partners in the 2016 Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference, Prophecy Watchers, and Gary Stearman. Gary, welcome.
Thank you, Derek. And this is a really momentous day because this is the first long-distance communication between Skywatch and Prophecy Watchers. And this is fun for that reason, but also because we've got something really big to talk about. The Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference coming up in July of 2016, and we'll be talking about the specifics of that in just a moment. But Derek, the days in which we live, the Middle East, China, Russia, Europe, the migrants, North Africa, I mean, it's like Bible prophecy is absolutely illuminating the global map. And of course, we're moving into this prophecy conference, so I'm sure it's going to be really exciting to hear what the gentleman convening there will have to say.
Yes, you're right. It is a time in which not only a Bible prophecy seems to be coming to fruition, but we're also seeing how prophecies of Muslims and the Jews as well are leading to a geopolitical situation that I don't think I would have, as a younger man, would have envisioned myself living to see. But it does appear that things are coming to a climax in the Middle East, the conflict in Syria and Iraq, and the apocalyptic vision of the Islamic State, the work of the Temple Institute in Jerusalem to reconstruct and reconstitute the third temple and the instruments needed for temple service. All of this coming together in our lifetimes. It's frankly, it's almost unbelievable.
It is almost unbelievable. And let me just say right off the bat that it's going to be great working with Tom Horn at the conference. Tom's going to be the MC. He and I will work together on stage, and I love to work with Tom Horn because Tom is a real people pleaser on stage. He's always not only upbeat, but he is loaded with information. And as we've all observed many times, Derek, when Tom gets up on stage and starts talking, the old preacher in him comes out and he warms the audience. So I'm looking forward just working that stage with Tom Horn at the conference. But not only is Tom going to be there, we have lots of guests. Let's talk about a few of them. Chuck Missler is going to be there.
Mm-hmm. He is just an amazing man, and we were blessed to have him here at Skywatch TV just a few weeks ago. Had the opportunity to talk with him about his new book, I, Jesus. We talked with him about his scientific studies and how he shows the creation of the universe points to the existence of an intelligent designer. Of course, we're talking about the God of the Bible. Contrary to what many New Agers think when they look at quantum physics, and they interpret it as meaning that we can somehow control reality with our minds. Chuck stands that on its head and shows that no, contrary to their belief, it just points to the existence of a loving God who spoke the universe into existence. It's always an education to just sit and listen to Chuck Missler, but to actually have the conversation with him was truly a blessing.
Indeed it is. Not only is Chuck Missler going to be there, we'll have personalities like L.A. Marzulli, who, by the way, has gone out a long way on a limb to validate his theories, his hypotheses, his observations about the ancient days of Scripture, specifically the descent of the Nephilim to planet Earth. And you know, LA is always digging up new material. I'm sure that between now and next July, he's going to have a lot of new things to share with our audience. Also, Avi Lipkin's going to be there. Avi's become kind of our Israel correspondent. He is a brilliant news watcher from the Middle East, and when Avi speaks, people listen. Right, Derek?
Yes. And given the times in which we live, Avi's perspective is extremely valuable. We're seeing what may be the third intifada taking place right now in Jerusalem. And of course, what happens to the north of Israel in Syria is of prophetic importance as well, especially now that it's been announced that apparently there is an awful lot of oil beneath the Golan Heights, which the rest of the world sees belonging to Syria. Once the situation, political situation, military situation in Syria settles down, there may be some consequences, some implications geopolitically for this new discovery, which could provide for Israel's energy needs for quite a long time. If the rest of the world agrees.
And excuse me, I was just going to add that it's going to be a bone of contention, adding some fuel to the Mideast fires too. At this moment in history, we're going to have Randall Price with us too, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Randall divides his life up between Noah's Ark and the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. He is a certified bona fide archaeologist, a Bible believer, a very deep and spiritual guy, and he is driven to discover new details about archaeology, and he's going to be sharing all of those with us. So that should be great.
Yes, again, with the Temple Institute recently releasing the architectural drawings for the Third Temple, his input, his research will be extremely interesting.
There's a little debate about where the Temple Mount actually was, and he's going to add his thoughts, I'm sure, to that debate. And by the way, when he talks, it's on the basis of years and years of research. Who else? Bill Salas. Of course, Bill Salas has been much in Christian news lately because he's talking about the upcoming Mideast wars. And he's talking about Elam, he's talking about Iran, modern Iran in prophecy, also talking about the various contending forces in the area of Syria and Jordan and Israel. And I'm sure that Bill's going to have a lot to say.
Absolutely. With all of the different players now on the ground in Syria, including Iran and Russia, Bill's insights will be very valuable.
Well, should we mention all the names we've got? I don't know whether we have time.
We certainly can't. I know in the short time that we have here, somebody's going to get short shrift, but I'd like to point out Timothy Mahoney, who is the producer of an excellent film about the evidence for the Exodus called Patterns of Evidence. That's been something that's interested me, fascinated me for years. And the work of the archaeologist on which he drew is really compelling. In fact, David Roll, the Egyptologist that Timothy interviewed quite heavily for the movie, has got a new book coming out as well, which should be really fascinating. But the movie itself and hearing about the journey that led Timothy Mahoney to make the film will be worth seeing. Of course, Paul McGuire, who's got a new book out, Joseph Farah, the publisher of WorldNet Daily, Colonel Bob McGinnis, who is a Pentagon strategist who's got a new book just released called Never Submit, who has insights from a Pentagon insider on what's happening geopolitically in the Middle East, specifically regarding the destruction of the ancient Christian communities in Iraq and Syria.
So let's recap here and mention for the first time that the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference is going to be taking place July 14th through 17th, 2016 at the Colorado Springs Marriott in the shadow of Pikes Peak. Is a gorgeous place. And of course, at that time of the year in July, when everybody else is sweltering in Colorado Springs, the cool breezes blow, the sights and sounds and scenes are just absolutely gorgeous. It makes for a wonderful environment, and in fact, we'll even have a tent outside the hotel where we'll convene meetings in the tent, catered with meals, by the way, and those are always fun, and we'll have speakers at those meals, right?
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to and I think many people find the same to be true, that as interesting and as edifying as it is to hear from these scholars of Bible prophecy, being able to fellowship with other people who are also hungry for this information, to know that we're not alone in viewing the world through a prophetic lens is really uplifting.
I should add that among the speakers will be one Derek Gilbert. Can we ask what you're going to be talking about? And it's a little bit far away to know that yet, I think.
Well, we're still investigating how that guy managed to get on the list of these speakers, but it will probably have something to do with the prophetic implications of replacement theology and dominion theology.
Wow.
A viewer to Skywatch TV actually sent me a book by Hal Lindsey written 25 years ago on the topic of replacement theology and the dangerous implications of that. And I think there are some, it's a deception that could lead well-meaning Christians to not only reject the nation of Israel, but actually welcome the Antichrist with open arms.
Wow. And there are many, many facets of that opening up even as we speak. You know,
Yes.
I'm going to be there and speaking, and as I'm thinking about it, Derek, the thought that occurs to me is, how could I possibly announce what I'm going to be talking about? Because so much could change in the next 2 or 3
Yes.
months. Who knows?
That is absolutely true. Who would have imagined that June 30th of 2014, just prior to last year's conference, that the Islamic State would declare the caliphate and reshape the map, the geopolitical map of the Middle East so radically that Russia, within just the last few weeks, would literally put boots on the ground in Syria to take part in the civil war taking place there. Between now and next year, it's hard to imagine how things might change.
Yeah, and today's news, as we make this, Derek, is that ISIL has stood up in Libya and basically planted their flag there and said, this is our territory, which excites me because Libya is mentioned in Ezekiel 38 as one of the areas that becomes a bone of contention in that great war. So literally, we've got things jumping off the wall at us.
Again, things that we couldn't have imagined even just a couple of years ago. How does Israel fight a war that includes Libya and also Ethiopia mentioned in there as well? But
Indeed.
if the spread of radical Islam continues across the map, it is now becoming, it falls within the realm of possibility.
So join us, and that's July 14th through 17th, 2016, at the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference, the Summit in the Springs, and that's at the Colorado Springs Marriott. I'm going to go down a list of names: Bill Salas, Chris Putnam, Joe Farah, Joel Richardson, Bob McGinnis, Jeff Kinley. Oh, Jeff Kinley, you'll really love to hear him. He's going to add not only wit and wisdom, but depth to the conference. You'll love to meet him. Derek Gilbert, as we mentioned, Carl Tykram, Brent Miller, Doug Stauffer, Paul McGuire, Tom Hughes from out there in California. Tom's a great speaker. And by the way, Tom is really getting excited about prophecy in a special way. Tim Mahoney, Doc Marquis is going to be there. Michael Lake, Josh Peck, Doug Woodward. Listen, there are a lot of people that are going to be there that maybe I haven't even mentioned all the names at this point, Derek, but it's building. We'll be talking about this between now and then. Anything you'd like to add as we kind of go into the close today?
Well, just direct people to prophecywatchers.com for more information and for online registration. And we encourage you to do it soon because we're trying to limit the crowds to make sure that as much as we like to gather with as many friends and brothers and sisters in Christ as we can, logistics dictates that we try to limit the crowds as well. So we do encourage you to register soon. And again, you can do that online at prophecywatchers.com.
You can. And by the way, if you do it online, it's really simple. Prophecywatchers.com. Just go to the online bookstore, click that tab, and you're there. And it's as easy as ordering a book. It's a very simple thing to register. And so do so quickly, because I have a suspicion that the places are going to go rather quickly. Don't you, Derek?
Absolutely. It would likely break the website if we hadn't backed up with additional server capacity. Gary, an honor to talk with you as always, and we look forward to seeing you soon, if not before July. I'm sure we will see you before then, but certainly this is going to be a conference to go down in the books as just a real blessing for those who are there.
And you know, this Skype conversation between you and me, between Skywatch and Prophecy Watchers, kind of groundbreaking. I've enjoyed this, and my best to all the gang over there at Skywatch TV. May the Lord bless you all.
And to you and to our good friend Bob, tell him, we're sorry he missed out. He needs to get up earlier next time, but I know he's still recovering from that Cubs defeat the other night.
Indeed. Oh, and we'll be talking in the future, no doubt. Things are going to be unfolding rapidly. And so speaking for Prophecy Watchers, I'm Gary Stearman, and I'm going to send it back to Derek and let him say so long for everybody.
And we thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is Skywatch TV.